Hello, my name is Alauna and welcome to day 26 of 28 days of self-love yoga. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the month-long challenge will be linked in the cards as well as at the end of this video, but today's video is going to be a restorative yoga. So it's a lot different than a lot of the other classes that I filmed for this challenge, but there's a reason that I'm filming a restorative class near the end, and that's because I am also offering restorative classes as part of my live Zoom classes. So very relaxing. They're kind of later at night, so it's a good way to sink in to sleep mode. So I'm really looking forward to teaching those classes. So if you're interested, the link to sign up will be down in the description, and be sure to use code YouTube for 50% off your first class. That's $2.50 for one yoga class. That is way better than any yoga studio, just saying. Just a heads up, we're doing legs up the wall for the final pose. So if you have a free wall, I suggest setting your mat up against the wall so that you don't have to ruin the restorative relax mode to move. Or if you don't have a free wall, me, you can just place a block underneath your hips and do legs up in the air for the same effect. So just wanted to say that before we get started, and yeah. So because today's yoga is restorative yoga, I do ask that you have at least a blanket. A thick blanket rolled up like a hot dog, like so. Specifically in this shape, this is how we'll be using it for both poses. You can use this in one of the poses if you don't have blocks, but if you do have blocks, we're going to be using 2 blocks in our first pose. So go ahead and set up the 2 blocks like a T on the top of your mat. And of course, if you don't have blocks, just bring the blanket like this and roll down so that your spine lays down onto the blanket. But if you have the 2 blocks, you can roll down so that where your bra strap would be comes to the bottom of the first block, allowing your shoulders to relax around it, and then bringing the second block under the base of the head, wherever is most comfortable. And we're doing 5 poses today. So 5 poses for 15 minutes means 3 minutes per pose. You can either stay here with your legs stretched out long, or you can bend into the knees, bringing the soles of feet to touch, allowing the knees to splay open to either side, and just resting your hands either on the hips or at your sides, making any last little wiggles or movements or adjustments that you need to find some comfortability in this pose. All of restorative yoga poses should be passive, not engaging into everything, but really just letting your body go, letting it melt into the props and the mat beneath you. Maybe try keeping your eyes closed through this entire practice. Slowly bring the hands to the outsides of the thighs and lift the knees up to a close. You can lift the head up and remove the first block. And then press up onto one forearm, remove the second block, and then just lower back down onto your back. Moving into supported bridge here. You can walk the feet in, touching the heels with the fingers, and then slowly lifting the hips and sliding either your rolled up blanket or a block underneath the hips. Just getting the hips elevated above the heart. Keeping the feet hip-width distance apart, and again, either resting your hands at your sides or placing them on your hips. Allowing yourself to sink in to this pose and into your breath. Not letting your mind wander to the external world, but just using this 15-minute practice to focus inward and focus on your breath. If your mind begins to wander in these poses, internally repeat to yourself, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. It's okay that the mind wanders. It's designed that way. But it's the practice of letting where it wanders go, not focusing on it, but staying in your internal awareness, focused on your breath. Not letting anything faze you, and just relaxing. On an inhale, slowly lift the hips up off of the block and lower them back down onto the mat. Keeping the knees bent, take your blanket and place it in between the knees. So kind of like you're going to bed and putting a pillow between your legs. Again, keeping the eyes closed. From here, shift both hips over to the left and drop both knees over to the right. So letting the left knee relax onto the blanket here. Extending both arms out at your sides, making a T shape with the arms, really opening through the chest as you gently twist the upper body. Just breathing into what you feel here. And again, allowing yourself to completely relax into your props and into the mat. Letting everything else go. You can keep the arms as they are, but slowly lift the knees back up through center. Shift the hips off to the right this time and drop the knees to the left, keeping the blanket in between the knees, keeping both shoulders flat on the mat, chest face up, and melting into this twist. Inhale, slowly bring the knees back through center. You can hug your arms back in and remove the blanket from between the knees. And if you're next to a wall, you can go ahead and extend both legs up the wall, or you can take a block or a blanket and place it underneath the hips. And hug the knees into the chest, finding a stable point for your hips to rest, and extend the legs all the way up towards the ceiling, maybe placing one hand on the stomach, one hand on the heart. Just tuning into the rise and fall of your torso with every breath. Allowing any tension or stress that you might still be holding onto relax off of you. Restorative yoga is meant to bring you relief and restore your body back to its best self. Go ahead and switch which hand is on the heart, which hand is on the stomach. Coming back to your breath. And if you notice your mind continuing to wander, just internally repeat, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. You don't need the forgiveness or approval of others. Give it to yourself. I forgive myself. Slowly begin to lower the knees back into the chest. And if you're against the wall, slowly come back to where you can move into Shavasana. If If you are on a block, slowly remove it from under your hips and extend both legs long, moving into the final pose of class, Shavasana. Again, focusing on stillness and rest in this pose, relaxing the feet, relaxing the legs, releasing any tension in the hips, relaxing the back, relax the shoulders away from the ears, relax the arms, and relax the jaw, and allow the tongue to come away from the roof of your mouth, relaxing your forehead and coming into stillness, focusing on your breath and the affirmation, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Slowly start to bring some movement back to the hands and the ankles. And reach the arms up and overhead for one final full body stretch before bending into the knees and rolling over onto one side before pressing yourself up into a seat, keeping the eyes closed and either placing the hands on the knees or bringing hands through heart center for 3 final grounding breaths together in 3, 2, 1. Slightly dipping the chin and blinking the eyes back open to the room around you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for doing that practice with me today. I don't know about you, but I am ready for a nap. That was great. If you enjoyed this class, be sure to let me know in the comments so I can make more restorative yoga. And if anything came up while you were saying the affirmation, I forgive myself, I encourage you to journal about it. Might sound silly, but it's one of my favorite practices because I feel like that's when a lot of things do come up for me. So yeah, just take that as you will. And if you are interested in doing a live restorative yoga class with me, I'll have some yummy music. It'll be a little bit longer than this and it'll be late at night. Be sure to check out the Zoom link in the description and I hope to see you there. I hope you have a wonderful, relaxed rest of your day. Bye guys.